and students, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to have been invited by the Indian Archaeological Society to deliver the first Rai Bahadur Memorial Lecture for the 47th annual session being held at BHU. The title chosen by me, Rai Bahadur Hiralal and his contribution to Indology, appears to be a biographical sketch of Rai Bahadur Hiralal. But this is not, let me make it clear, this is not so. Rai Bahadur Hiralal, who passed away 29 years from today, had worked about 30 to 35 years during that part of central India, which now is divided into Chhattisgarh, Mahakoshal and Vidarbha. Those days known as Sipi and Barar. Though an administrator, he, like the British officers, had multidimensional personality. Any direction or any field that he chose, he went to the extreme of that field and reached conclusions which were final during those days. Not only final during those days, some of his works are final even today. Some of his findings are even final today in the field of epigraphy, in the field of ethnology, in the field of tribal studies, in the field of manuscripts, and so many other fields which we will discuss. The circumstances under which he worked is worth studying, and I have taken up this topic only to discuss those circumstances, the great difficulties under which he was working. British pressure on one side, missionary pressures on the other side. And under those circumstances, people like Grierson, it was very difficult to work with people like Grierson or R.V. Russell, who were staunch colonialists. But he had a different nationalistic approach to every subject that he took up. So it is with this approach that I will try to approach the whole subject of his biography. Of course, a brief account of his life sketch will come, and then we will go to the respective fields to see how difficult it was without, and you can understand those 80 years before, there were no libraries available in central India. Nagpur, the capital, had no library. What to talk of other districts, towns. It gives me when the invitation was extended to me, I was too glad to accept it for several reasons. It gives me an opportunity to pay my humble tribute to that great scholar who, apart from his challenging administrative duties, devoted his entire life to the cause of promotion of Indological studies in central India, some related areas of which I chose for researches during my entire career. I am acquainted with the family through Dr. Kumari Chhaya Rai, retired professor of philosophy of Jabalpur University, an internationally renowned philosopher, who is the granddaughter of Rai Bahadur Hiralal. She is the donor for instituting the present series of memorial lectures and is present here on this occasion of the first memorial lecture. She is sitting in that right corner. It is also a very interesting coincidence to note that the memorial lecture is starting from a venue which was once a center of brisk academic activities of Rai Bahadur Hiralal. You see, my findings will come across number of facts, unknown facts, very lesser known facts, because this entire paper is based on the archival records of the family, which I have consulted and from which I have drawn my conclusions. These are not available readily. He was a member of Kashi Nagarani Pracharani Sabha since 1919 and as editor of its quarterly journal was responsible for compiling the Hindi Shabd Sagar. When the Kashi Nagarani Pracharani Sabha made a decision to establish Bharat Kala Bhavan within the campus of BHU, and its foundation was laid by Mahamana Madan Mohan Malviya, followed by a series of lectures, it was Rai Bahadur Hiralal who was in charge of the entire arrangements. Rai Krishna Das, the director of Bharat Kala Bhavan, records in his obituary note that during his tenure he had received the gift of a sculpture of Brahma from Hiralal's personal collection. Presently the image is a prized possession of Bharat Kala Bhavan. It is more than a generation's gap, as more than a generation gap exists since the sad demise of Rai Bahadur Hiralal in 1934. It is desirable to have a review of his life and achievements as an administrator as well as an Indologist in this first lecture dedicated to his memory. I am thankful to the Indian Archaeological Society for assigning this task to me. Family background. Grandson of Manbodh Singh and son of Ishwar Das, Rai Bahadur Hiralal was born at Katni Murwada in his ancestral home on October 1st, 1867. He joined school at the age of 9. After a brilliant career, he went to Jabalpur Government College where he held a scholarship throughout his life, and from there he graduated in science in 1888 at the age of 21. Administrative career. Soon after graduation, Rai Bahadur Hiralal was appointed first as a teacher and then as a science instructor to northern districts of CP and Barar for 2 years 6 months. In 1891, he was promoted as Deputy Inspector of Schools in Sagar district. During his 5 years tenure on this post, the innovative reforms that he introduced impressed the government to promote him as Circle Inspector of Schools, which post he held for 18 months. From the post of Famine Relief Officer, on which he was appointed in 1897, he was promoted as an Extra Assistant Commissioner in 1899. During the next 4 years, he assisted the state government to conduct the census operations smoothly. Being impressed by his efficiency, enthusiasm and knowledge, he was appointed as Officer on Special Duties and posted to Nagpur for preparing the district gazetteers of the state, which work he completed in 1910. The assignment was acknowledged in glowing terms, and in recognition of his profound services, the government of CP and Barar conferred upon him the title of Rai Bahadur. He was again posted in charge of census operations of 1911 and subsequently transferred as Extra Assistant Commissioner to Jabalpur. Taking into consideration his specialized knowledge of the land and the people, his services were harnessed in several research projects of the state, namely in the field of epigraphy to prepare and publish the list of inscriptions in CP and Barar, first published in 1914 and later published in 1932, second edition, to co-author with R.V. Russell in writing the four-volume work entitled The Tribes, Castes and Tribes of CP and Barar, 1916, and to help George A. Grierson in conducting the linguistic survey of the central provinces and recording the aboriginal dialects, that was in 1919. Subsequently, he was posted to Wardha, a hotbed of national politics during those days, as district magistrate, which post he held with distinction till 1921. After a few months leave, he was made Deputy Commissioner of Narsinghpur, from where, after completion of 35 years of service, he retired and settled back at Katni. This is his administrative career. Now let us look into his academic side. Rai Bahadur Hiralal's contribution to Indology were confined, as discussed before, to the specialized field of epigraphy, ethnology and linguistics, apart from manuscriptology, which were all confined to CP and Barar. During the first quarter of the 20th century, the development of research in these fields in the areas concerned was practically nil. Lack of existence of a well-stocked library either at the capital of Nagpur or anywhere else in the province was a great hindrance. Under these circumstances, how Rai Bahadur Hiralal helped the administration in executive Indological research projects sheerly out of his characteristic enthusiasm and energetic endeavor was itself not less than a miracle. With this background, we may attempt to assess the academic side of his career. In the field of epigraphy, Rai Bahadur's interest was aroused when during his posting as Extra Assistant Commissioner at Balaghat in 1899, he came across a set of copperplate inscriptions in possession of a village priest with whom these were under worship, believing these to be a document of buried treasure. With great difficulty, these could be acquired by Rai Bahadur on assurance that the treasure, if found, shall be surrendered to him. It was difficult for Rai Bahadur to decipher them as he was not yet an epigraphist. He approached his friend Rai Bahadur Pandit Gauri Shankar Hirachand Ojha for help. The latter supplied him a copy of his recently published book, the first edition 1894 of Prachin Lipimala, which was the first work on the subject in India. Bowler's Indian Paleography was published 2 years later in 1896. With itself, Rai Bahadur was able to decipher the record and find that it was the Baitul plates of Paribrajak Maharaja Sangshobh, dated in Gupta year 199, 518 AD. Sent as a research paper to the government epigraphist for India, it was published in Epigraphia Indica volume 8, 1905-6. He received ₹40 a remuneration for the same, which he gracefully declined to accept. Within a few months' time, Rai Bahadur received a huge packet from the government epigraphist containing a number of copperplate inscriptions with a request to edit them for Epigraphia Indica. He wrote back to say that the task be better assigned to a senior epigraphist, as he was yet a novice in the subject. His request was not accepted and he had to edit them. These were 18 in number, 18 copperplates, and were published in Epigraphia Indica volume 9th, 11th, 12th, 15th, 16th, 18th, 19th, 20th and 21. A few more were edited by him for Indian Antiquary, Journal of Bihar and Orissa Research Society, Proceedings of the All India Oriental Conference and Indian Historical Quarterly. Rai Bahadur's in-depth study of epigraphy and history was fruitfully utilized by the state government. On recommendation of Sir Ernest Low and Fogel, he was put on a special task to prepare a descriptive list of inscriptions in Seti and Berar with a view to facilitate the use of inscriptions for reconstructing the historical past of the region on the basis of original sources. He completed the assignment within 2 years, and the first edition of inscriptions of Sipi and Berar was published by the state government in 1914. The second revised edition was released in 1932, which was 230 pages, containing summaries supplemented by bibliographies of 314 inscriptions, ranging from the times of the Mauryas to the fall of the Gonds, the Muslims and the Marathas. His propriety to classify these inscriptions into important and unimportant were questioned by Dr. Barrett, but it was found perfectly in order by Dr. Vincent Smith when the manuscript was referred to him for comments. The work was highly appreciated by him as well as such eminent scholars like Oldham, D.V. Spooner, F.W. Thomas and others. In his appreciation of the book, Professor D.R. Bhandarkar wrote that, within quote, that the book is of such importance to the epigraphist that it has been pretty frequently referred by me in my list of inscriptions of northern India. In fact, the book was being so much appreciated on all hands that it was no wonder that he was elected as the president of the All India Oriental Conference, which was held short time ago at Patna, unquote. The Director General of ASI expressed the hope that it would lead to others, within quote, it would lead to others on the same model in other provinces, unquote. Subsequently, Nagpur University prescribed the book in its syllabus for MA courses in Sanskrit and ancient Indian history, culture and archaeology. Rai Bahadur's greatest contribution in the field of epigraphy was the new light thrown on the hitherto less known Kalchuri dynasty of central India, whose 7 branches known today claim to have ruled over a large part of India for a period exceeding 1200 years, an unparalleled record in the history of India. On account of his in-depth knowledge about the Kalchuris, he was often consulted by such contemporaries like Dr. D.R. Bhandarkar, Rahul Sankrityan, K.P. Jaiswal and others. The Archaeological Survey of India approached him to prepare volume 4 of the Corpus Inscriptionum Indicarum, the inscriptions of the Kalchuri. The remuneration offered was ₹10 per page. This was not acceptable to him in view of partiality shown as compared to Dr. Steinkono, whose remuneration fixed for editing the corpus of Kharoshthi inscription was a guinea per page. Rai Bahadur offered to work on honorary basis. Without any honorarium, on condition that an assistant be made available to him for a period of 2 years, whose total remuneration was to come to ₹5,000 only. The Archaeological Survey of India kept quiet, but his friend Jayachandra Vidyalankar found out an assistant for him from Gurukul Kangadi, whose remuneration was decided by Rai Bahadur Hilalal to be paid by him personally. But before this could be implemented, Rai Bahadur Hilalal was no more. The ASI entrusted the assignment to Mahamahoopadhyaya V.V. Mirashi in 1935, who took a decade to complete it, and the Corpus Inscriptionum Indicarum Volume 4, Part 1 and 2, Inscriptions of the Kalchuri Chedi era, was released by the government epigraphist in 1955. Now let us look into the ethnology, the field of ethnology in which, and his contribution in that. As a result of the uprising of 1857, the British government undertook a large-scale ethnological studies and their publications primarily to help the government officers to know something about the life and conditions of the people over whom they were ruling. For C.P. and Barar, the task was entrusted to R.V. Russell, IES, the superintendent of ethnography of the state. He got Rai Bahadur Hilalal associated with this project, resulting in the publication of the 4-volume work Tribes and Castes of the Central Provinces of India, first published in 1915. Several editions of this great work have henceforth appeared, and its findings are recognized as valid even today. Russell and Hilalal were good friends as they worked together in the state in the preparation of the state gazetteers, the census operations, etc. But their friendship never came in the way of their respective scholarship. Russell's approach to the subject was colonial in nature, in considering the tribes of India as aboriginal migrants from different parts of the world. Rai Bahadur, being a staunch nationalist, differed from him and got his view recorded in the work, and Russell acknowledged his view. Russell writes in the preface of the book, quote, "He, Rai Bahadur Hilalal, has always given the most loyal and unselfish aid, has personally collected a large part of the original information contained in the book, and spent much time in collecting the results. The association of his name in authorship is no more than his due, though except where this has been specifically mentioned, he is not responsible for the theories and the deductions from the facts obtained." Rai Bahadur Russell admits that he is different from Hilalal's view is different from him, but he got those things recorded in that book. The 4-volume book is authentic even now, and its authority is valid in law courts of India. Unfortunately, the ghost of wrong theory of tribal identity continues to haunt us even today, as the national policy regarding the tribal population of India is entirely based on the erroneous foundation laid by the British administrators and the missionaries so bluntly pointed out in his writings by eminent ethnologists like Rai Bahadur Hilalal. Now we take up next linguistic. The Linguistic Survey of India, LSI, was very much the brainchild of George A. Grierson, whose resolution adopted in the Third Oriental Conference at Vienna in 1886 led the government of India to implement it in the country from 1894 onwards. In all, 179 languages and 554 dialects of India were described in this Linguistic Survey of India's 11 volumes in 19 parts, published between 1903 and 1928. Various provincial governments too were directed to participate in this ambitious project. It was not before 1920 when the first gramophone records, finally totaling 242, illustrative of 97 dialects and languages belonging to C.P.N. Brar, Madras, Burma, Bengal, Delhi, were out. These surveys related to C.P.N. Brar were entrusted to Rai Bahadur Hiralal, along with some more of his colleagues. It was in 1917 that the gramophone recordings of the Bagheli language conducted by HMV, his master's voice, and running into several records, recording number 5491 AK and 5492 AK were narrated by Rai Bahadur Hiralal in his own voice. The themes surrendered were Parable of the Prodigal Son in mixed Bagheli Hindi and 2 Camel Lost and Found in Bagheli. Later on, Rai Bahadur Hiralal prepared and published the transcriptions and translations of the gramophone records of the languages and dialects spoken in C.P.N. Brar. A set of these invaluable gramophone records were available in the personal library of Rai Bahadur Hiralal. These are now preserved in the Madhavrao Sapre Memorial Library, Bhopal, where these have been donated by his successors. Rai Bahadur's contribution to the Linguistic Survey of India has been well recognized by George A. Grierson in his condolence message to the family. Within quote, no one can appreciate the value of Rai Bahadur's ability, and while learning more highly than I, and his lamented death has created a void in the Oriental language which it will be difficult to fill. Unquote. District Gazetteers. As already discussed, the title of Rai Bahadur Hiralal, Rai Bahadur was earned by Hiralal on the basis of his contribution on account of his profound knowledge in preparing the district gazetteers of the state. His attempt was unique in one way, in that he, for the first time in India, got abridged versions of the gazetteers prepared in Hindi for use of common men. Each priced ₹1 or less. Lakhs of copies of Hindi gazetteers of Jabalpur, Damoh, Sagar, Mandla, Bilaspur, Raipur, Chanda, etc., total number being 22, were published and widely distributed amongst the masses. The title of each gazetteer was attractive, like Jabalpur Jyoti, Sagar Saroj, Narsinghpur Nayan, Damoh Deepak, etc., etc. This was possible only on account of his personal influence upon the contemporary administration. These Hindi gazetteers are in great demand even now, and in spite of several editions, these are out of print. If the district gazetteers in English were meant to guide the administrators, the Hindi ones written in common man's language aim to educate the masses. It was a unique experiment of Rai Bahadur Hiralal, attempted nowhere in India. Cataloguing Sanskrit and Prakrit manuscripts. As per a resolution passed in the Shimla Conference of Orientalists held in July 1912, the government of C.P.N. Brar undertook the work of cataloguing the ancient Sanskrit and Prakrit manuscripts of the state. There was no scholar better than Rai Bahadur Hiralal, and he was requested to handle the project. He could do so only after the completion of the inscriptions of C.P.N. Brar. Earlier catalogue on the subject, published by Dr. Kilhor in 1874, and contained 1825 manuscripts only. Hiralal's catalogue, published in 1926, 4 years after his retirement, listed 6,922 Brahminical manuscripts located in different districts of the state, and 1,263 Jain manuscripts preserved in the Karanja district Kakula collection. A work of 814 pages published by the government of C.P.N. Brar, the catalogue is a rare work, providing the names, authorships, subjects and ownerships of all the 8185 manuscripts recorded therein. The work has provided clues to a number of missing links in Indian history, apart from the floodlight thrown on the literary history of Jainism. Love for Hindi. Rai Bahadur Hilalal's love for Hindi was unbound. It was on account of his effort that the Nagpur University introduced Hindi as a subject of study. The studied at BA and MA level. He was responsible for starting the Hindi Sahitya Parishad at Nagpur. He often contributed learned articles in almost all the contemporary Hindi journals. Initially, a member of Kashi Nagari Pracharani Sabha, Rai Bahadur was nominated as its president and was editor of its quarterly journal. As honorary superintendent of the search work of Hindi manuscripts in United Provinces of Agra and Audh from 1917 to 1922, he wrote extensively in the annual reports for the concerning years of the committee. We have already noted his experiment in preparing the Hindi Gazette of Sapian Barar. His posthumous work, Madhya Pradesh Ka Itihas, was published by Kashi Nagari Pracharani Sabha in 1966. Rai Bahadur Hilalal's contribution towards promotion of Hindi literature has been appreciated in glowing terms by such eminent Hindi scholars like Ram Kumar Verma, Maithili Sharan Gupta, Dhirendra Verma, Prayag Dutt Shukla, etc., to quote a few. Other academic activities. On account of his academic stature, Rai Bahadur Hilalal was nominated to several academic bodies of national importance. He was honorary correspondent of the Government of India in the Archaeological Department, member of the Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland, of the Bihar and Odisha Research Society, of the Court, the Executive Council, the Faculty of Arts and Board of Studies in History, Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit and Vernaculars in Nagpur University in 1933. In 1933, Nagpur University conferred upon him the degree of Doctor of Literature. He was offered the Vice Chancellorship of Nagpur University, but he declined to accept the same as he was not in a position to shift his stay from Katni to Nagpur. He was nominated as President of All India Oriental Conference held at Patna in 1930. Personally, he was so impressed by this honor that he named the main entrance of his palatial ancestral house at Katni as Patna Dwar. He decorated the entrance with sculptural pieces of Kalchuri art personally collected from several sites. These are now preserved in the collection of Rani Durgavati Sangrahalaya, the State Government Museum at Jabalpur. The exclusive collection containing about 100 sculptures is earmarked as Hira Vatika, a hall in the museum reserved only for cultural activities of the city, is named as Dr. Hiralal Rai Kalavitika. At Nagpur, the State Government Museum has been renamed as Rai Bahadur Hiralal Archaeological Museum. During his tour of Europe to attend the Archaeological Conference in London as a representative of the Government of India, he fell ill and was advised to take rest in Shimla during the summer of 1934. On account of his failing health, he returned to Katni and was shifted to Nagpur and thereafter to Bombay for treatment. He passed away in the early hours of 19th August 1934. His body was brought back to his birthplace, Katni, and cremated. As a mark of respect, Government of India issued a commemorative stamp in his honor on 31st December 1987. This is printed on the back of this paper. For the multi-dimensional genius that Rai Bahadur Hilalal was, he will forever be a source of inspiration for the generations of Indologists to come, and for the great human being that he was, he will always be remembered for all the times to come. Thank you very much for giving me a fair share here.
डॉक्टर आर के शर्मा का बहुत आभारी हूं। उन्होंने एक महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी दी है हिरालाल जी के बारे में जो देश को नहीं पता था और मुझे भी नहीं मालूम था जब तक कि उनकी ग्रैंड डॉटर जी ने, छाया जी ने मुझे लिखा नहीं। और ये जो उन्होंने लिखा भी, वो जहां तक 99% मैं समझता हूं वो प्रोफेसर आर के शर्मा जी की वजह से लिखा है, वरना शायद हम लोग कभी उनके बारे में नहीं जानते। तो मैं डॉक्टर साहब का बहुत ही आभारी हूं। उन्होंने यहाँ आकर के उनके बारे में, उनके कर्तव्य पोस्ट के बारे में जानकारी दी। एंड वंस अगेन आई थैंक्स द पीपल फॉर हियरिंग मी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।